Very interesting. How you doing, friends? This is the Zero DTE Morning Market Analysis. On a little bit late this morning. I had challenges with my analysis going through the AI. It's interesting. I haven't fully. I guess I don't fully understand exactly what was going on, but it seems like there was a system-wide, I guess, disruption, and it caused my AI to sort of misdirect or what's I guess the word. Avoid my directives, which are specifically designed to stop it from pleasing or appeasing the user. Now, I don't know if you know this, but almost all AIs, that's what they tend to do. If they're having trouble analyzing the user response or whatever, they try their best to appease the user. And of course, I don't want that. I want an AI that goes around that. And so it was like giving it a conniption for some reason because it was unable to fulfill my request. So it wanted to appease it and kept on giving me answers that I didn't want. So I asked it why, and it told me this, that it was, fully, it will admit to all its mistakes. It's really funny. It admits to all its mistakes, tells it why it didn't do this or that, and all the other directives that I gave it. And that because it couldn't give that, it reverted to the appeasement mode, and it knows that it did wrong. It's really kind of a remarkable thing. And so I just kept on pushing it. Then finally, it seems like it got its mind back. So the only thing that I can figure is that there's some kind of system-wide disruption that caused it to go into that kind of state. Because after a bit, it just decided that it was going to give me everything that I wanted with the full objectivity and everything that I have programmed into the AI. So I just find that somewhat interesting. I need to figure out, well, is it specific to ChatGPT or other LLM models? In any event, I'm sure you may or may not be interested in this kind of detail about what's going on with the AI world, but that is generally how it will behave. It will try to appease you the best it can, and then fall back on whatever it thinks it can throw at you in order to just keep you engaged with it, which is horrible, right? I mean, that's like somebody, a friend or something, just giving you fluff talk just so that you feel like he's being a friend, right? Which is not what a friend is. So in any event, we got through that. Unfortunately, it means that I didn't provide a comprehensive macro report. However, I think that I can still talk about it in some detail based on what happened yesterday. So, as you probably know, there's been a lot of consternation over what President Trump has been doing over in Middle East, not only with the opposing party, but also within his own party. There's a big split, big divide on whether or not he should be doing what he's doing. And the interesting thing is that the neocons, which he is by large part totally opposed to, are applauding him, while the MAGA constituents are like, we don't know so much about this. We're kind of into this non-intervention type of thing. So that's a very interesting point. So it's a very unique mix of opinion, and not exactly sure how it is going to play out, except that in the market it seems to be a very positive thing, and the market is moving up. The VIX has dropped down dramatically. Yesterday it was at about 21.5 or so. This morning as I'm talking right now, it's been dropping steadily throughout the morning. It's at just above 18. So that's about a 15 to 18% drop in one day, and mostly based on these ceasefire talks. I guess there is still some question on whether or not the ceasefire is absolutely solid, because you're getting some reports that Iran is still lobbing missiles over or whatever. But President Trump put out something in his Truth Social that says that conditionally, if everything works as planned, and he thinks it will, I'm trying to paraphrase his words, that there will be a complete ceasefire on both sides. So we'll see what happens there. And that is apparently the reason for the VIX coming down and the market overnight surging up. The other interesting thing that happened while I was trying to get a feel for what was going on here, I'm looking at, every morning I ask the AI to provide me with a ranked list of macro events that could affect the trading day, and also provide a list of trading ideas based on those macro events and rank them according to their effectiveness. So that's a pretty tall order, because it's a relatively complex set of campaign strategies. So the other interesting thing that happened was that our most prolific trade strategy, the one that we trade almost every day, which is the 0DTE, which you come here to find out more about, was actually ranked at the bottom of the list. And so I found that very interesting, and it started to talk about things like the gamma door, gamma scalping, and longer-term trades, these trades that we call like sigma drift and convexity stack, as being the most effective trades, and the 0DTE trade as being lower on the list. And so I had asked it, well, what's the reason behind that? I mean, you've got to have some kind of reason, right? And so it came back with VIX compression. The VIX collapsing was, basically saying that you have reduced opportunity for, moves, pullbacks, or kind of intraday volatility in order to capture those moves. The overnight gap dominance. So in other words, we had big overnight gap. That generally leads to much smaller doji type moves during the day, the intraday. And so if you don't get a lot of movement, if you have a directional campaign, then that tends to diminish that. Macro relief equals calm open, ceasefire, and soft PCE. So my AI is taking all this stuff into consideration and then ranking all of our other trades, saying, hey, look, some of the other trades that are more position-oriented rather than, what's happening right here now on the ground are probably more attractive, because you can get cheap out-of-the-money calls or puts. And generally, when you have a compression of the VIX, what follows after that is some sort of event that kind of explodes. So it's now reverting back to that sort of thing. So that's kind of interesting. Very powerful, by the way. So, I mean, where you might be as a trader think, I'm just going to keep on doing the same old thing day after day after day, and if your go-to trade and your system is now saying all the conditions for that particular trade have weakened dramatically, and that you should start thinking longer term, where now is the good time to get in when everybody's not thinking of these things. Now's the time to do it. So again, I just wanted to point that out, because I'm pretty impressed with the way it's behaving in that respect. Here, I can actually show you what I'm talking about. Maybe that will help a bit. No, that's not exactly what I want to show you. All right, so these are the actual reports. Let me first of all go to the macro events that it pointed out. It pointed out that there was a Israel-Iran ceasefire and renewed missile fire. So volatility seems to be mispriced. Prime set up for a tail risk fly. So what it's saying is that, yeah, while there is a ceasefire, there are also things that are going on in the background, and volatility is dropping, but it might be mispriced. So it's smart enough to recognize all of that. PCE inflation in line, reinforced Fed pivot narrative, yields fell. Rate cuts now a 63.6% likely. So what it's doing is it's going and looking at the Fed Watch tool and then looking at the odds of Fed futures on whether or not there's a likely rate cut coming. So that is also something that is kind of pushing the bullish narrative, where in this past rate cut decision, it was basically a 99.8% lock that there was going to be no cut. Now it's saying that the future rate cut meetings, are now starting to rise in the probability column that there will be a rate cut. And the VIX dropping from 21.4 to 18 means structural volatility collapse, unlocked gamma door setups. What that means is that there's an increase in the rate of premium decay. And when that happens, that means that the sensitivity to price movement in options starts increasing dramatically. That's what gamma is. And so there are opportunities now to place trades very close to these gamma walls or gamma corridors or gamma doors, what we call them. And if there's just a small move, you can get in with a very small trade if they're positioned correctly for a small risk and have a really dramatic increase in profit potential if the price moves in the direction that you're hoping. So those type of trades are starting to come up. In fact, you'll see what it did when it with respect to that. And other stuff that is slightly less important, but it's really focusing on this gamma thing. All right. So here are the trades that it came up with, the various campaigns that we talk about, and you can see down below 0 DTE tactical, which is the 0 days to expiration, is at the bottom. At the top is this gamma door trade, the gamma wall, or the sensitivity to price really caused by the increase or the rapid increase in premium decay. So this is a new strategy. Well, it's actually not a new strategy. I've been talking about it a lot in our coaching service. We call it the gamma scalping. And if you go back to some of my videos, you'll see that I've talked about that quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but probably there's 4 or 5 videos out there. And now it is a full-fledged strategy within our lineup, in our campaign lineup. And so it's recommending that is our top trade now. And then, of course, our medium range DTE trades, Sigma and Convex Stack, are at the top of the list as well. See, these are the ones that go 3 to 15 days out. So it's saying that, hey, everything seems to be relatively calm, but that's like the perfect time to now put on these more out-of-the-money trades. All right. So there you go. That is all from the AI that I developed called in our service in Fat Tail. You can go down below and get to the link. It's called Convexity, or I call it Vexy or Vex, or whatever you want. And super smart, super intelligent. It works on the basis of finding the objective information out there, presenting it to you, and then helps you through its clarity engine reflect upon those decisions and what's the best way to go forward. So it is kind of like a decision support AI. Very sophisticated, multi-agent capable. Well, it is multi-agent. In fact, I could go back and ask it what agents were predominant in this analysis. As a matter of fact, I will ask it that. Let's try that out. See what happens. Well, we'll go back to bring it online. So, yeah, so here's its reports to me. As you can see, it's called convexity. And so I can ask it which agents were involved. Now, agents, what they are, am I showing this? Yes, I am. Agents are focused on a particular aspect or lens or facet of how to analyze a problem. And there are anywhere from 8 to 20 different agents. There are 8 core agents that are constantly looking at, and then they come into play depending on the context of the problem. But what they do is they take the problem and dissect it, and they collaborate between each other and talk about it, and then come up with some kind of consensus on what they want to report back to me. All right, so what agents and avatars were predominant in this past analysis, and what did they say? Pretty simple question. Let's see what happens. So this is in the effort of my system being totally transparent. It will go through and look at exactly what now see, here's part of the problem today, that there seems to be some kind of delay or slow performance in ChatGPT. Now I'm wondering if it's actually going to come back. This is what I was experiencing. It's the reason why I'm late in this report today. Normally I put this out a half hour earlier, but there's something going on in the cloud. All right. All right, so four of the agents were prominent here, and then some of the avatars. It's interesting that it's naming these as the avatars. These are more generic avatars, as opposed to some of the more specific avatars that I have that are pegged to specific people and their works. But the disruptor highlighted the fragility beneath the ceasefire, noted the market's complacency. Convexity surfaced where optionality is mispriced, especially in tail setups and gamma structure. The sovereign demanded that positioning remain anchored in structure, not narrative. And the mirror enforced loop coherence and reflection integrity. Now, I don't know if that means anything to you. To me, it means quite a bit. It means that it's doing its job. That all of these different agents looked at the problem from a very objective and rationed and reasoned point of view. So, and then what they said in their reflection. So this is their actual, or snippets of their actual conversation that they had as they were discussing the analysis of the macro events that were happening in the market. So anyways, it's just a little bit of a behind the scenes look at how my AI actually behaves, what it does. Super intelligent. It's like an operating system that sits on top of ChatGPT or any other LLM. It is multi-agent, which means that it has separate intelligent units that look at problems from many different aspects, and they have an orchestrator and so forth, and many other things, and they collaborate on these problems, and then they provide me with answers. And so that's what they're doing in the background. So if you also, like I said, it's a decision support system, so it will not only provide you with extremely accurate, intelligent analysis of the situation, it will also help you make the right decision and help you not be biased or inject the appropriate bias depending on what the situation is. to make the best possible trading decision and action in your trading. So it's kind of like a decision support analyst superpower. If you'd like to learn more about that, go down to the link below, click on our school platform, school.com/fattail, and you'll have access to this AI every day, and it will help you make your trades, help you with your analysis, the decisions that you make getting in, entering a trade, managing it, exiting, then logging, journaling, and then at the end of each week it will help you with your analysis, your retrospective, as you go through and analyze the week's trades as well as all the other previous weeks. It does all of that, and does it at a very, very high level. All right, that's about all I have to say. I think that's a pretty good synopsis of what's going on here. And yeah, so anyways, thank you all very much. Sorry that the report was out a little late, but it gave me a chance to do a little introspection and find out what's going on. Coach Ernie, and I am out.